And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today I have a banging video on how to take your tracks even further, and that is with a little concept called tension and release. So whether you realize it or not, you are quite familiar with tension and release already. Tension, build up, build up, build up, drop, release, but you can incorporate tension and release within your drop and can really add just another dimension to your drops. So I tried to play around with this concept through this kind of Camel and Crooked style drop. I think it's come out really good. I learned a bunch of things along the way. So obviously I'm gonna walk you through it, and I'll definitely make a list on the side of the video of different things that help add this tension and release inside the drop. So anyway, sneak peek, here we go. So a lot of this kind of tension release is dictated by the basses. Drums are just doing the standard classic D&B stuff. First and foremost, before we get into the basses, obviously a little fake out at the start. You got all this tension leading up into the build, and then you got another kind of mini build. You're waiting for it. It's just another element of tension and release, and this is easily accomplished by just stripping down your drums for the first like couple of bars. Then bringing back in and also stripping the bass. This bit does not have any sub bass, so it's just building into that with a little auto filter, a little filter action. Extra sauce, really. I won't cover that too much. I've already made a fake out video in the past. I'll leave that in a link in the description in case you want to check that out. I feel like the main importance of this mini tension and release comes down to these two alternating basses. These massive thumps. They have a lot of bass, they've got a lot of width, they also have a little bit of white noise sizzle on the top. AKA this little sizzle. It's just a fat, thick layer that's in your ears for fat, thick layer that's just in your ears for like half a second before it's stripped out to something completely more minimal and so the alternation between the fat, intense sound and the more stripped back bass sound definitely. It definitely pays dividends, just explosive energy, then strip back, explosive energy, and repeat. Another thing which I want to cover is this bass. We'll just focus on this a little bit. Loop. So there's a few things going on with this bass. It's literally just playing the same note here. It's getting a little bit faster and faster, but I think it comes down to like this automation. As you can see, I've got a few macros here, which I will dive into you for this. If you didn't know, you can actually macro map this little curve in an LFO. First of all, it's making the actual note length longer with this rate here. Opening up the filter just a little bit more so you get more frequencies come through. It's actually making the sound louder as here if you follow this. By the end of that little section, the volume's hanging out around here instead of hanging out around here. It's opening up the filter, it's making the sound longer, it's making the sound louder. It's just combining all the good stuff to make like a timid sound just more aggressive. And the secret sauce is also in the fine tuning as well. And you can see with this oscillator, there's a fine tune mapping on here. So it's going up in pitch just a little bit and it's throwing it out of tune, which I think adds to the whole tension element. But it's just for this oscillator. Normal wavetable and sub are just doing the bog standard stuff. They're not changing pitch at all. It's just the second oscillator that's just creeping slightly out of tune. So yeah, kind of ignore macro 3, it's not doing much. Macro 1 is just opening up the sound, making it louder, opening up the filter, etc, etc. Macro 4 is doing the subtle pitch difference on this separate oscillator. I've kind of duplicated that for this grit layer as well. Just beef it up, etc, etc, and then of course sub. I haven't got the subtle pitch change on the sub, just leaving it clean as. So quick recap, explosive power. The sound, changing the pitch just a little bit, throwing it just slightly off edge, like something's not quite right, and then bam, back into the explosive power. and a little bit more magic in these sections as well. You'll notice the overdrive is increasing as well, a little bit more distortion towards the end, so it's just like breaking apart the sound, and is also increasing with delay as well. All these super subtle automations just really kind of just break apart the sound and just throw the listener off just a little bit. So it's a good combination. But of course, I'm a massive advocate of effects as well as bass. Effects is just as important, so. We have a couple of risers. Buried in the background, atmosphere. Of course. But the main addition is this little arp here, which is following the notes and just doing chords. Quiet, loud. Following the intensity of those pump basses. It's increasing the amount of panning that's going on, and also increasing the volume. And an important thing to take away is notice how this is linear and it just cranks up right towards the end. I feel like that's a key fact as well, just like. That there is at the point where the bass is most kind of just destroyed. So gradually, and then boom, just an extra kick towards the end. Massive swells. And finally, a little side trick, which I think is kind of cool to keep your listeners on their toes. Well, notice this pattern here of explosive bass followed by the minimal bass, which we've already covered. Not quite. You were expecting a cheeky little bass here, which would have made a lot of sense. I don't know, that's too predictable, so I had a gap of silence here, just being like. Little extra cheeky bit of tension. You didn't get the release. Mad thing. And of course, if you're taking this a step further and trying to be a real ass for your listeners, you can't have the same thing in the second drop because they're expecting it now. You need to switch up the tension and release. So. And then you can have something completely different for drop 3. Absolute tune. And hopefully that sparks some ideas for your next tunes. Tension and release, absolute banger of a concept to use, not just for your build up and drop, but for other elements of your track as well. And especially just taking it a step further for your drops. And if you do want to get your hands on this project file I built, link will be in the description. Just a heads up, this one isn't free, but if you want to dive deep into it, link will be in the description if you want to check that out and download it. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial. Peace!